You settle into the evening, the world around you softening into a quiet hum, perfect for a journey back through time. Imagine the gentle rustle of a warm breeze, the kind that carries the scent of sun-baked earth and distant rivers. Close your eyes, if you like, and let the modern world slip away. Tonight, you're not bound by the glow of screens or the rush of schedules. Instead, you're standing on the edge of ancient Babylon, summer's heat lingering in the air. As the city prepares for a festival to honor Marduk, their mighty god. The sky above is a deep indigo, pricked with stars, and the horizon glows faintly where the sun has just dipped below the world. You're here, in this moment, and the story unfolds around you. The air is thick with the scent of dust and clay, mingled with something sweeter, perhaps the faint perfume of date palms lining the city's walls. You stand at the Ishtar Gate, its blue-glazed tiles shimmering under torchlight. Lions and dragons carved into the surface as if guarding the city's soul. The gate towers above, a monument to Babylon's grandeur, and you feel the weight of centuries in its presence. People move past you, their sandals scuffing softly against the stone path. They're draped in linen robes, some fringed with delicate patterns, their voices low but alive with anticipation. The festival is coming, they whisper, and Marduk will be pleased. You take a step forward, your feet sinking slightly into the warm earth. The city sprawls before you. A maze of mud-brick houses and wide avenues, all leading toward the heart of Babylon, the great ziggurat, Edamananke, its stepped silhouette looming against the sky. You've heard of it, haven't you? The house of the foundation of heaven and earth. Some say it inspired tales of towers reaching the gods. But tonight, it's not the myths that draw you. It's the people, the pulse of their lives. The way they weave devotion and celebration into something tangible, like a tapestry you can almost touch. As you walk, you notice the flicker of oil lamps in doorways, casting golden pools of light. A woman brushes past, balancing a clay jug on her shoulder, and you catch the faint scent of sesame oil. She's humming, a melody so soft it's almost lost in the evening's murmur. You wonder if she's thinking of the festival, of the dances or the feasts to come. Maybe she's like you, caught in the rhythm of something larger, something that feels both ancient and alive. You smile to yourself. Modern life doesn't quite hum like this, does it? No apps buzzing, just the quiet cadence of a city preparing for its god. The festival, held in the heat of summer, is no small affair. It's a time when Babylonians honor Marduk, the patron deity who, in their stories, tamed chaos and shaped the world. This isn't just a party, it's a sacred act. A way to renew the bond between the city and the divine. You learn this from a passerby, an old man with a beard like spun wool, who pauses to adjust his cloak. Marduk sees us, he says, his voice low, as if sharing a secret. The procession will start soon. You nod, feeling the weight of his words, though you're not sure if it's the god or the city itself that watches. You follow the crowd toward the city center, where preparations are underway. The streets are alive with small acts of devotion, women weaving garlands of reeds, men hauling baskets of barley to the temples. You pass a baker's stall, the air heavy with the scent of flatbread still warm from the oven. It's not so different from a modern street fair, you think. Though you doubt they had cotton candy back then. Maybe they'd have laughed at our neon-pink sugar clouds, or maybe they'd have traded them for a sip of their date wine. You chuckle softly, imagine explaining a food truck to a Babylonian. Yet, there's something odd you notice, a quirk of this ancient world. Some of the garlands being woven aren't just reeds, they're studded with tiny clay beads, each shaped like a fish. You overhear a young girl explaining to her brother that the beads honor the river, the lifeblood of Babylon. It's a small thing, but it sticks with you, this blend of practicality and reverence. The Euphrates, flowing just beyond the city, isn't just water, it's a divine gift. And they adorn it with fish-shaped trinkets. You wonder if our modern rivers get such love, or if we've forgotten how to weave beads for them. The crowd thickens as you near the temple district. And you feel the energy shift. The festival's heart lies here, in the shadow of the Asagila, Marduk's great temple. You catch glimpses of priests in white robes, their heads shaved, moving with a quiet purpose. They're arranging offerings, golden bowls, heaps of grain, and something that glints like lapis lazuli. You're struck by the care in their movements, each step deliberate, as if the gods are watching every gesture. It's mesmerizing, isn't it? Like a dance no one else sees. But not everyone agrees on what these rituals mean. The scholars of later centuries, piecing together clay tablets, still debate whether the summer festival was purely for Marduk, or if it also honored the city's older gods, like Enlil. Some argue the procession's route, which you'll soon follow, was a symbolic map of the cosmos. Others say it was just a practical path to the river. You imagine the historians bickering over wine, their voices rising, and you smile. History's like that, half fact, half story, and always a little messy. You pause by a low wall, the stones still warm from the day's sun. The city's sounds wrap around you, distant laughter, the clink of pottery, a faint chant rising from the temple. You feel the pull of the festival, its promise of connection, of something bigger than yourself. It's not so different from today, is it? We still gather, still celebrate, still hope the universe notices. Maybe our festivals have better lighting, but the heart of it, the longing, feels the same. You take a deep breath, ready to move deeper into Babylon's night. Part 2. You let the evening's warmth guide you deeper into Babylon, the city's pulse quickening as the festival draws near. The streets are narrower now, winding between mud brick homes where lamplight spills through open doorways. You catch the scent of roasted barley and something tangy, perhaps fermented date juice, a Babylonian favorite. The air hums with voices soft but eager, as families prepare for the days ahead. You're not just a visitor here, you're part of the crowd, carried along by their quiet excitement. The stars above seem to lean closer, as if they, too, are curious about what's unfolding. You turn a corner and find yourself on a wider avenue, one that stretches toward the towering ziggurat. Its silhouette looms, a stepped mountain against the night sky, each level lit faintly by torches. You can't help but pause, your breath catching at its scale. It's not just a building, it's a statement, a bridge between earth and the divine. You wonder if the Babylonians felt small beneath it, or if they felt larger, knowing their hands shaped something so grand. Modern skyscrapers don't quite carry that weight, do they? They're more about steel than soul. The avenue is alive with activity. Merchants line the edges, their stalls draped with linen and piled high with goods. You pass a man selling clay amulets, each etched with Marduk's dragon-like symbol. His voice is low, almost hypnotic, as he calls to passers-by. Protection for the festival, blessings for your home. You linger, watching a woman haggle for one, her fingers tracing the amulet's curves. It's a small ritual, this exchange, but it feels like part of the festival's rhythm, like a heartbeat you can almost hear. A little farther, you notice a group of priests moving through the crowd, their white robes catching the torchlight. They're carrying baskets of reeds, likely for the temple's altars, and their faces are calm, almost serene. You wonder what it's like to live so close to the gods, to spend your days weaving prayers into every task. It's not so different from modern rituals, you think, our morning coffee runs, our playlists curated for focus. But here, every act feels heavier, as if the air itself carries Marduk's gaze. You smirk. Imagine trying to explain a latte order to these priests. One detail catches your eye, something odd and charming. At a stall nearby, a vendor is selling tiny clay tablets, no bigger than your palm, inscribed with cuneiform. They're not sacred texts, though. You overhear their festival tokens, meant to be traded for food or trinkets during the celebrations. It's like ancient festival wristbands, you realize, and you can't help but grin. The Babylonians, for all their grandeur, had a knack for the practical. You picture a kid clutching one of these tablets, eyes wide, trading it for a honeyed figure. Some things never change. The crowd shifts, drawing you toward a square where preparations are in full swing. You see women braiding ropes of flowers, tamarisk and lotus, their petals soft against the rough twine. The scent is faint but intoxicating, like summer distilled into a single breath. A man nearby is stacking clay jars, their lids sealed with wax, probably filled with beer or wine for the feast. You imagine the chaos of a modern festival, spilled drinks, lost phones, and wonder if Babylon had its own version. Did someone lose a sandal in the crowd, or forget where they parked their donkey? You chuckle softly, the thought oddly comforting. The square's energy is anchored by a historical truth. This festival, tied to Marduk's glory, was a cornerstone of Babylonian life. It wasn't just celebration, it was renewal, a way to align the city with the cosmos. Clay tablets from the period, etched with priestly records, describe how the king himself would lead parts of the ceremony, humbling himself before Marduk's statue. You picture it, a ruler, draped in gold, bowing to a god. It's a reminder that even kings were small in the face of the divine, a concept that feels distant in our world of selfies and status updates. Yet, not all scholars agree on the festival's deeper purpose. Some argue it was less about Marduk and more about unifying the city's diverse peoples, Sumerians, Akkadians, and others, under one ritual. Others insist it was purely theological, a cosmic drama played out on Earth. You can almost hear the academics debating, their voices rising over dusty manuscripts. It's a puzzle without a clear answer, and you like that. History's messy, like a tapestry with a few loose threads, and you're content to let them dangle. You move closer to a group of musicians tuning their instruments, lyres and reed pipes, their notes tentative but growing steadier. The sound is haunting, weaving through the chatter like a thread. You close your eyes for a moment, letting it carry you. The festival hasn't begun, but you feel its pull, the way it draws people together, like gravity. You notice a child nearby, tugging at her mother's robe, pointing at a pile of reeds. "For the boats," the mother says, and you wonder what she means. Boats on the Euphrates, maybe? You'll find out soon, you think. As the city's rhythm carries you forward. The air grows cooler now, the night settling in like a soft blanket. You take a deep breath. The scents of flowers and bread mingling with the faint tang of river water. The festival is close, its energy building, and you're right in the heart of it. You feel a quiet thrill. Not the kind that jolts you awake, but the kind that lulls you deeper into the story. Babylon's waiting, and you're ready to see what comes next. Part 3. You feel the city's pulse quicken as dawn breaks, painting Babylon's mud-brick walls with a soft, golden glow. The air is still warm, carrying the scent of dust and blooming tamarisk. But there's a new energy now, like a deep breath before a song. You're standing in a crowded avenue, pressed shoulder to shoulder with Babylonians, their linen robes brushing against you. The sacred procession for Marduk is about to begin, and you can sense the weight of it, the way the crowd holds its breath, eyes plus, not unlike that moment before a concert starts. When the lights dim and everyone waits for the first note. Except here, it's not music you're waiting for. It's a god. You shift your weight, your sandals scuffing the packed earth. The avenue is lined with palm trees, their fronds swaying lazily in the morning breeze. Ahead you see the procession forming, priests in white robes, their shaved heads gleaming under the sun. And behind them, a massive statue of Marduk, carried on a gilded platform. The statue is breathtaking, gold and lapis lazuli, the god's eyes carved to seem alive, staring out over the crowd. You wonder how they move something so heavy. Oxen, maybe? Or just the sheer will of a city devoted to its deity. You smirk. Imagine trying to haul that through a modern parade. Good luck getting a permit. The crowd stirs as the priests begin to chant, their voices low and rhythmic, like a tide rolling in. You catch fragments of the words, praises to Marduk, the slayer of chaos, the shaper of worlds. The sound wraps around you, soothing yet insistent, and you find yourself swaying slightly, caught in its cadence. It's not unlike those ASMR videos you've stumbled across, the ones that make your scalp tingle and your eyelids heavy. You notice a woman beside you, her eyes closed, lips moving silently. She's praying, you realize, and you feel a pang of something, envy maybe, for that kind of faith. When was the last time you believed in something that fiercely? The procession moves forward. And you move with it, carried by the crowd's gentle push. You pass a group of children perched on a low wall, their legs swinging as they clutch clay tokens for the festival market. One drops his token and scrambles to retrieve it, earning a laugh from his friends. You smile. Kids are the same everywhere, aren't they? Always losing something, always chasing after it. You remember losing a glow stick at a summer fair once, the neon green snapping in the grass. Not quite as poetic as a clay token, but close enough. A historical anchor grounds this moment. The procession was no mere spectacle. In Babylonian tradition, it reenacted Marduk's victory over Tiamat, the primordial chaos, a story etched into their creation myth, the Enuma Elish. You overheard a scribe earlier, explaining to a curious boy that the statue's journey through the city mirrors Marduk's triumph, binding the people to their god's order. It's a reminder that Babylon wasn't just a city, it was a cosmos, every ritual a thread in its fabric. You think of modern parades, all floats and confetti, and wonder if we've lost something in the glitter. But there's a quirk in this grand display, something delightfully odd. You notice some priests carrying not just incense or offerings but small cages woven from reeds, each holding a live dove. You overhear a man whisper that the doves, released at the river, carry prayers to the heavens. It's a charming touch, though you can't help but imagine the chaos if one escapes early. Picture a priest chasing a flapping dove through the crowd, hardly the divine dignity they're aiming for. You chuckle softly, hoping no one notices. The avenue opens into a wider plaza, where the procession slows. You see musicians now, their lyres and drums adding a pulse to the chants. The sound is hypnotic, weaving through the crowd like a current. You catch a glimpse of dancers ahead, their robes swirling as they practice for the evening's performance. The plaza smells of crushed petals and warm bread, offerings piled high on wooden tables. You're tempted to linger, to run your fingers over the woven baskets, but the crowd presses forward, and you don't resist. Scholars, as always, can't quite agree on the procession's origins. Some say it began as a harvest rite, older than Marduk himself, adapted to honor Babylon's chief god. Others argue it was a political tool, designed to unify the city's factions under the king's watchful eye. You imagine them hunched over clay tablets, squinting at faded cuneiform, each certain they've cracked the code. It's comforting, in a way, to know history's as slippery then as it is now. You'd love to sit them down with some date wine and watch them duke it out. You notice the crowd thinning slightly as you approach the Euphrates, its waters glinting in the morning light. The statue of Marduk gleams ahead, its platform adorned with flowers and ribbons that flutter like tiny flags. You feel the procession's rhythm shift, slowing as it nears the riverbank. The air grows cooler here, the scent of water mingling with the dust and incense. You remember those fish-shaped beads from the garlands back at the gate. Were they for the river, too? You'll find out soon, you think. As the crowd gathers along the bank, the sun climbs higher, warming your shoulders, and you take a deep breath, letting the moment settle. The procession is more than a ritual, it's a story. One the Babylonians tell themselves to make sense of their world. You feel it now, that pull of something larger, and you're content to let it carry you forward, toward the river and whatever comes next. Part 4. You stand now on the banks of the Euphrates, the river's surface shimmering under the morning sun like a sheet of polished bronze. The crowd around you is quieter, their murmurs hushed by the water's gentle lap against the muddy shore. The procession has paused here, Marduk's golden statue gleaming on its platform, surrounded by priests who move with a deliberate grace. You feel the air shift, cooler and heavier with the scent of reeds and damp earth. It's a moment of pause, a breath before the festival deepens, and you let it wrap around you, soothing as a whispered lullaby. Imagine dipping your toes in that river. Would it feel like any other water, or would it carry the weight of 1,000 prayers? The priests are arranging offerings along the bank, clay bowls filled with barley and honey, their surfaces dusted with crushed petals. You notice boats bobbing nearby, small and woven from reeds, each adorned with flowers, lotus and tamarisk, their colors vivid against the water's brown. These are the boats the mother mentioned last night, you realize, the ones carrying offerings to Marduk. You watch as a priest places a bowl on one, his hand steady, and pushes it gently into the current. The boat drifts, fragile but purposeful, and you wonder where it'll end up. Maybe it's like those paper lanterns we float at festivals today, carrying wishes we don't quite believe will come true. You shift your gaze to the crowd, their faces lit with a quiet reverence. A man nearby adjusts his cloak, his fingers brushing a fish-shaped bead pinned to the fabric. You remember those beads from the garlands at the Ishtar gate. And now you see them everywhere, tucked into braids sewn onto robes. They're not just decoration, you overhear, they're a nod to the river, the lifeblood that feeds Babylon's fields and fills its jars. It's a small thing, but it grounds you, this reminder that even gods depend on water. You smirk. Imagine explaining bottled water to these folks. They'd probably think we're mad for paying for it. The boats are a historical cornerstone of the festival. Their use recorded on clay tablets that describe how offerings were sent to appease the river's spirit and ensure Marduk's blessings. The Euphrates wasn't just a resource, it was a divine partner. Its floods and ebbs woven into the city's myths. You picture the scribes etching those tablets, their styluses pressing into soft clay, capturing this moment for centuries to come. It's humbling, isn't it? To think your footsteps here, on this muddy bank, echoes something that's outlived empires. But there's a quirky detail that catches your eye, something that makes you stifle a laugh. Some of the boats aren't just carrying bowls, they've got tiny clay figurines, no bigger than your thumb, shaped like fish or birds. You overhear a woman explaining to her son that these are messengers for the gods, meant to swim or fly to the heavens. It's adorable. But you can't help imagining a priest accidentally dropping one in the mud, muttering under his breath as he fishes it out. Divine messengers, sure, but they're still at the mercy of a clumsy hand. You chuckle softly, the sound lost in the crowd's hum. The priests begin to chant again, their voices rising over the river's murmur. You catch the rhythm, slow and steady, like a heartbeat. The words are ancient, praising Marduk's power over chaos, his gift of order to a fragile world. You don't understand the language, but you feel its weight, the way it binds the crowd together. A woman beside you sways, her eyes half closed, and you wonder what she sees behind those lids. Maybe she's picturing Marduk himself, or maybe she's just lost in the sound, like you are. It's not so different from zoning out to a favorite song, letting the world blur until it's just you and the melody. You glance at the boats again, more of them drifting now, their flowers catching the light. The sight is mesmerizing, almost hypnotic, and you feel your shoulders relax, your breath slowing. The festival's grandeur is still there, the statue, the priests, the chants. But here, by the river, it feels intimate, like a secret shared between the city and its god. You think of modern rituals. Maybe a quiet moment lighting a candle or tossing a coin into a fountain. We're not so far from these Babylonians, are we? Still hoping the universe listens. Scholars, of course, have their debates about this river rite. Some say the boats were purely symbolic, a way to honor the Euphrates as Marduk's ally. Others argue they were practical, a way to clear the temple of excess offerings before the next phase of the festival. You can almost see the academics, hunched over their coffee-stained notes, each convinced they've decoded the ritual's heart. It's a reminder that history's never just one story, it's a chorus, sometimes harmonious, sometimes not. You like the ambiguity, though. It leaves room for you to wonder, to fill in the gaps. The procession stirs, preparing to move again, and you feel the crowd shift, their energy building. The boats are still drifting, some catching in the reeds, others vanishing around a bend. You take a deep breath, the air cool and sharp with the river's scent. The festival is unfolding, layer by layer. and you're right in its current, carried toward the temple and the next act of this ancient drama. You feel a quiet anticipation, not urgent, but steady, like the river itself. Part 5. You follow the procession as it winds away from the Euphrates, the river's cool breath fading behind you. The crowd moves toward the heart of Babylon, where the Asagila temple waits. Its walls glowing under the midday sun like a beacon of divine fire. You feel the warmth on your face, the air heavy with the scent of incense and sun-baked clay. The chants of the priests grow louder, their voices weaving a tapestry of sound that lulls you, like a soft hum you might hear in a dream. You're here, in this ancient city. And the temple's pull is undeniable, drawing you closer with every step. Imagine the weight of those ancient stones. Don't they feel like they're holding centuries in place? The Asagila looms ahead. Its entrance flanked by towering statues of lions, their eyes inlaid with glinting obsidian. You pause, struck by their gaze, as if they're sizing you up before letting you pass. The crowd presses forward, and you slip through the gateway, your sandals brushing against smooth stone floors worn by countless feet. Inside, the air is cooler, thick with the scent of myrrh and cedar. Oil lamps flicker along the walls, casting shadows that dance like spirits. You wonder if the Babylonians felt the same way you do, or if this was just another day in their divine routine. Probably a bit of both, like us with our holiday traditions, special, but familiar. You notice the priests now, moving with a quiet precision at the temple's heart. They're arranging offerings on a massive altar, golden bowls of grain, jars of honey, and clusters of dates so ripe they gleam. At the center stands Marduk's statue, smaller than the one in the procession but no less grand, its lapis lazuli eyes catching the lamplight. You watch a priest pour oil into a shallow dish, muttering prayers as he works. The ritual is hypnotic, each gesture deliberate, like a dance choreographed by centuries. You think of modern ceremonies, lighting candles, folding hands, and smirk. We've got Wi-Fi, but we're still pouring oil for something bigger. The priest's chants deepen, and you feel the sound in your chest, a low vibration that soothes your thoughts. You catch a glimpse of a young acolyte, barely a teenager, struggling to balance a tray of reeds. He nearly drops it, earning a sharp glance from an older priest, and you stifle a laugh. Poor kid, divine service doesn't come with a manual, does it? You remember fumbling through your own rituals, maybe spilling wine at a toast or tripping during a dance. The gods probably don't mind the clumsiness, but the humans sure do. This moment is rooted in history. The Asagila was Babylon's spiritual core, where the king and priests performed rites to secure Marduk's favor for the city. Clay tablets describe how these summer rituals, often tied to the harvest, ensured prosperity and order. You imagine the king himself here, kneeling before the statue, his crown glinting but his head bowed. It's a humbling image, a reminder that even power bends before the divine. You wonder if our leaders today could manage that kind of humility, probably not without a press conference. But there's a peculiar detail that catches your eye, something wonderfully odd. Some of the offerings include tiny clay tablets, inscribed with cuneiform, tucked among the grain and fruit. You overhear a priest explaining that their prayers, written by ordinary Babylonians, asking for health, love, or a good crop. It's like an ancient suggestion box for the gods, and you can't help but grin. Imagine sneaking your own note in there. Dear Marduk, please fix my Wi-Fi. You chuckle, the sound swallowed by the temple's hum, and hope no one's judging your modern irreverence. You move closer to the altar, drawn by the flicker of a lamp. The light catches the gold on Marduk's statue, and for a moment you swear it moves, just a trick of the flame, but it sends a shiver down your spine. The crowd around you is quieter now, their voices hushed as the priests begin a new chant. You notice a woman nearby, her fingers tracing a fish-shaped bead on her bracelet, her lips moving silently. She's praying, you think, and you wonder what she's asking for. Maybe it's not so different from what you'd ask if you believed the gods were listening. Scholars, naturally, have their debates about the Asagila's rites. Some argue the summer festival was a fertility ritual, meant to coax the land into abundance. Others insist it was a political act, reinforcing the king's divine mandate. You can picture them squinting at cracked tablets, each certain they've unlocked the temple's secrets. It's a comforting mess, this tangle of theories, because it means history's alive, still whispering questions no one can fully answer. You like that? It's like a story that never quite ends. The priests light more incense, and the air grows hazy, the scent wrapping you in a soft cocoon. You feel your eyelids grow heavy, the temple's rhythm lulling you deeper into its world. The festival is unfolding, and you're part of it, carried by the chants and the lamplight. You take a slow breath, the myrrh sharp in your lungs, and let the moment settle. The Asagila is a world unto itself, and you're not ready to leave, not yet. Part 6. You step out of the Asagila's shadowed embrace, the temple's incense still clinging to your senses as you rejoin the festival's flow. The sun has dipped lower, painting Babylon's walls with a warm amber glow, and the air hums with the promise of evening. You find yourself in a wide courtyard, where long tables are laden with food, flatbreads, roasted barley, and bowls of dates glistening like dark jewels. The crowd gathers here, their voices a soft murmur, as they settle under the stars for a communal feast. You feel the ground beneath you, still warm from the day, and let the scene wrap around you, gentle as a whispered bedtime story. Imagine the crackle of a distant fire. Doesn't it sound like home, no matter the century? You ease into a spot among the Babylonians, your knees brushing the woven mats spread across the earth. A woman beside you offers a piece of spice bread, its crust flecked with sesame. You take it, the warmth of it surprising in your hands, and bite into its soft, tangy heart. It's good, better than you expected, like something your grandmother might have baked if she'd lived by the Euphrates. You thank the woman, and she smiles, her eyes crinkling in a way that feels universal. Food does that, doesn't it? Builds bridges faster than words. You think of modern potlucks, all mismatched dishes and laughter, and smirk. Maybe we're not so far from this courtyard. The feast is alive with small moments. Across the table, a man pours date wine from a clay jug. His hands steady but his laughter loud as he spills a drop. Children dart between the mats, chasing each other with sticky fingers, their giggles rising like sparks. You notice the musicians nearby, their lyres and reed pipes weaving a melody that's both mournful and bright, like a memory you can't quite place. The sound lulls you, softening the edges of the world. And you wonder if this is what the Babylonians meant by divine order, a moment where everything fits, even the chaos of a child stealing an extra date. This feast is no mere meal. It's a historical pillar of the festival, a ritual of unity rooted in Babylon's devotion to Marduk. Clay tablets describe how these communal gatherings, held after temple rites, reinforce the city's social bonds, from priests to farmers. You imagine the king himself at a similar table, his gold-trimmed robe out of place among the common folk, yet present to show Marduk's favor extended to all. It's a powerful image, one that makes you think of modern leaders. Would they sit with us at a barbecue, or would they tweet about it instead? You chuckle, the thought fleeting but sharp. There's a quirky detail that catches your attention, something that makes you pause mid-bite. Some of the bowls on the table aren't just clay. They're shaped like tiny boats, their rims carved with fish motifs. You overhear a man explain that these are river bowls, used only during the festival to honor the Euphrates' role in the feast. It's a charming touch, though you can't help imagining the potter who made them cursing as he tried to get the fish scales just right. Picture dropping one of those in the kitchen. Nothing says divine wrath like a shattered boat bowl. You laugh softly, hoping the woman beside you doesn't think you're odd. The air grows cooler now, the stars sharper overhead, and you lean back, savoring the bread's lingering spice. You notice a group of elders nearby, their voices low as they share stories, maybe about past festivals, or the year the river flooded too soon. Their words are lost to you, but their cadence feels familiar, like the hum of a family gathering you've known your whole life. You think of those fish-shaped beads from the procession, the ones honoring the river. Are they eating from both bowls for the same reason? To weave the Euphrates into every bite, every story? It's a thread that ties the festival together, and you feel it pulling you deeper. Scholars, as always, have their debates about these feasts. Some argue they were purely religious, a way to share Marduk's blessings through food. Others see them as social glue, designed to ease tensions in a city of diverse tribes, Sumerians, Akkadians, and more. You can picture the historians, their desks piled with tablet fragments, each convinced they've cracked the feast's purpose. It's a puzzle you're happy to leave unsolved, because the truth feels alive here, in the laughter and the clink of clay cups. History's not just facts, it's this moment, this taste of bread. You take another sip of date wine, its sweetness sharp on your tongue. The musicians shift to a slower tune, and you feel your eyelids grow heavy, the courtyard's warmth lulling you. The festival is a tapestry, and this feast is one of its richest threads, binding people to their god, their city, their river. You glance at the woman beside you, her smile soft as she watches the children play. You feel a quiet connection, not just to her, but to everyone here, to the stars above, to the story unfolding. The night is young, and you're ready for what comes next. Part 7. You linger in the courtyard as the feast winds down. The air now cool and laced with the faint sweetness of spilled date wine. The stars above Babylon burn bright, a canopy of light that feels close enough to touch. You rise from the woven mat, your legs stiff but your heart light, and follow a stream of people toward a clearing where torchlight flickers like captured fireflies. The festival's rhythm shifts here, from the shared warmth of the feast to something more vibrant. Dancers are gathering, their robes swirling as they prepare to perform under the night sky. You feel the pulse of anticipation, soft but steady, like a heartbeat you're just beginning to hear. Imagine the rustle of linen in the breeze. Doesn't it sound like a secret being whispered? You find a spot near the edge of the clearing, where the ground is packed smooth by countless feet. The torches cast a golden glow, their flames dancing in time with the faint hum of a lyre. The dancers, men and women in flowing garments dyed crimson and indigo, move into formation, their anklets jingling softly. You watch their steps, deliberate yet fluid, as if they're tracing stories in the earth. The crowd around you is quiet, their eyes fixed on the performance, and you feel the weight of their attention, like a shared breath held in reverence. It's not unlike watching a ballet, you think, though no modern stage could capture this raw, ancient grace. The music swells, drums joining the lyre in a rhythm that's both haunting and alive. You notice the dancers' movements mimic the myths of Marduk, sweeping gestures for his battle with chaos, gentle sways for the creation of the world. It's mesmerizing, the way their bodies tell a story older than the city itself. You wonder if they practiced for months, or if the steps are woven into their bones, passed down like a family recipe. You smirk. Imagine trying to choreograph this for a school recital. Okay, kids, channel the primordial void. Good luck with that. This dance is no mere performance. It's a historical cornerstone of the festival, a ritual that binds Babylon to its divine narrative. Clay tablets describe how such dances, performed during sacred festivals, were offerings to Marduk, their steps believed to echo in the heavens. You picture the priests watching from the sidelines, nodding approval as each gesture aligns with tradition. It's a reminder that in Babylon, art wasn't separate from faith, it was faith, woven into every spin and sway. You think of modern concerts, all flashing lights and autotune, and wonder if we've traded something sacred for spectacle. But there's a quirky detail that catches your eye, something that makes you bite back a laugh. Some of the dancers wear sashes tied with tiny bells, their chimes adding a delicate layer to the music. You overhear a man whisper that the bells are meant to wake the god's attention, ensuring Marduk notices the offering. It's a charming idea, though you can't help imagining a sleepy deity, startled awake by a jingle. Picture Marduk rubbing his eyes, muttering, "All right, I'm watching." You chuckle softly. The sound lost in the crowd's murmur, and hope no one thinks you're mocking the divine. You shift your weight, the earth cool beneath your sandals, and let the dance pull you in. The dancers' robes catch the torchlight, their colors blurring into a kaleidoscope of motion. You notice a young girl nearby, standing on tiptoe to see better, her eyes wide with wonder. She's clutching a fish-shaped bead, like the ones you saw by the river, and you wonder if she's dreaming of dancing one day, her own anklets chiming under the stars. It's a small moment, but it grounds you, this glimpse of a child's hope in a city that feels both ancient and alive. Scholars, of course, can't agree on the dance's deeper meaning. Some argue it was purely devotional, a physical prayer to Marduk. Others see it as a social ritual, designed to unite the city's diverse clans through shared spectacle. You can almost hear the academics, their voices rising over stacks of clay tablets, each certain they've decoded the dancer's steps. It's a puzzle you're content to leave unsolved, because the truth feels alive here, in the rhythm of the drums and the swirl of crimson robes. History's not just a debate, it's this moment, this flicker of torchlight. The dance builds to a crescendo, the dancers spinning faster, their bells ringing like a chorus of tiny stars. You feel your breath slow, the music lulling you into a gentle trance. The crowd sways slightly, caught in the same spell. And you wonder if this is what the Babylonians meant by divine connection, a moment where the world feels whole, if only for a night. You think of those reed boats from the river, carrying prayers to the gods. Are these dances another kind of boat, floating stories to the heavens? You're not sure, but you like the thought. The music softens, and the dancers slow, their final steps a graceful bow to the night. You take a deep breath, the air sharp with the scent of smoke and earth. The festival is weaving its magic, and you're part of it, carried by the torchlight and the fading chime of bells. The clearing is still alive, the crowd buzzing softly, and you know there's more to come. Part 8. You drift away from the dancers' clearing, the chime of their bells still echoing in your mind as you follow the crowd into Babylon's night. The air is cooler now, laced with the earthy scent of mud brick walls and the faint tang of roasting barley. You find yourself in a bustling market, its stalls lit by flickering oil lamps that cast a warm, honey glow. The festival's energy hums here, alive in the chatter of vendors and the clink of clay tokens changing hands. You feel the pulse of the city, vibrant yet soothing, like a lullaby with a beat you can't resist. Imagine the rustle of linen as someone brushes past. Doesn't it feel like the night itself is moving? You weave through the market, your sandals scuffing against the packed earth. Stalls line the path, piled high with goods, baskets of figs, jars of sesame oil, and stacks of woven cloth dyed in shades of saffron and indigo. You pause at one, where a vendor displays amulets etched with Marduk's dragon-like symbol. His voice is low, almost hypnotic, as he calls to you. Blessings for the festival, friend. You smile, tempted to barter, but move on, your eyes caught by a group of children darting between the stalls, their laughter sharp and bright. They're playing some game, clutching those clay tokens you saw earlier. Kids, you think, same then as now, always chasing something shiny. The market's chaos is mesmerizing, a tapestry of sound and color. You notice a woman haggling over a bolt of cloth, her gestures sharp but her smile warm, like she's enjoying the dance of it. Nearby, a man balances a tray of flatbreads, dodging a child who nearly crashes into him. You smirk. Imagine trying to navigate this with a smartphone in hand, dodging texts and selfies. The Babylonians had it easier, didn't they? No notifications, just the hum of voices and the scent of spices. You wonder if they'd laugh at our obsession with screens, or if they'd trade their clay tablets for a tablet of the digital kind. This market is a historical heartbeat of the festival, a place where Babylon's social fabric was woven as tightly as its cloth. Records on clay tablets describe how festival markets, held under Marduk's watchful eye, were more than commerce. They were communal, binding the city's diverse peoples through trade and shared celebration. You picture merchants from distant lands, Sumerians, Elamites, mingling here, their accents blending like the spices in the air. It's a reminder that Babylon was a crossroads. A city that thrived on connection, not unlike our global markets today, though ours come with barcodes and express shipping. But there's a quirky detail that makes you pause. Something delightfully odd. Some stalls sell tiny clay figurines, shaped like owls or turtles, meant as festival keepsakes. You overhear a vendor explain that they're luck-bringers, tucked into homes to ward off mischief during the celebrations. It's charming, though you can't help imagining a Babylonian tripping over one in the dark, muttering as they rub their toe. Picture explaining that to Marduk. "Sorry, my lord, your sacred turtle got me good." You chuckle softly, the sound swallowed by the market's din, and hope no one notices your amusement. You linger by a stall selling roasted nuts, their warm, toasty scent pulling you in. The vendor offers you a handful, and you accept, the nuts crunchy and slightly sweet. You chew slowly, savoring the moment, and notice a group of elders nearby, their heads bent over a game of knucklebones. Their laughter is low, their gestures slow, and you feel a pang of something, nostalgia, maybe, for a time when life moved at this pace. You think of those fish-shaped beads from the river, the boat bowls at the feast. Are these all figurines another thread, tying the festival to the everyday? You're starting to see the pattern, the way Babylon wove its faith into every corner. Scholars, naturally, debate the market's role in the festival. Some argue it was a sacred space, where trade honored Marduk's order by fostering prosperity. Others see it as purely practical, a way to feed and entertain the crowds. You can picture them, squinting at faded cuneiform, each certain they've cracked the market's purpose. It's a puzzle you're happy to leave unsolved, because the truth feels alive here, in the clink of tokens and the flicker of lamps. History's not just a thesis, it's this moment, this handful of nuts. You move deeper into the market, the crowd thinning slightly as the night grows late. You notice a young girl clutching an owl figurine, her eyes bright as she shows it to her brother. She's beaming, and you wonder if she believes it'll bring her luck, or if it's just a treasure to hold. It's a small moment, but it grounds you, this glimpse of joy in a city that feels both ancient and immediate. The festival is a living thing, and you're part of it, carried by the market's rhythm and the stars overhead. You take a deep breath, the air sharp with the scent of oil and earth. The market's energy is fading, but the festival isn't done with you yet. You feel a quiet pull, a promise of more to come, and you're ready to follow it, wherever it leads. Part 9. You slip away from the market's fading clamor, the glow of its lamps dimming as you follow a quieter path toward the temple district. The night air is cool now, carrying the scent of damp clay and the faint musk of incense lingering from the day's rituals. Babylon's streets are softer underfoot, the earth worn smooth by the festival's endless flow of feet. You hear distant laughter, the pluck of a lyre, but here, in the shadow of the Asagila, the mood is heavier, more secretive. You feel a gentle pull, like a whisper urging you closer to something hidden. Imagine the flicker of a single lamp in the darkness. Doesn't it feel like it's guarding a secret just for you? You pause at a low wall, its mud brick surface still warm from the day's sun. Ahead, a narrow passage leads to a courtyard tucked behind the temple, its entrance half hidden by a curtain of woven reeds. You catch a glimpse of movement, white-robed priests, their heads shaved, slipping through the curtain with a quiet purpose. The crowd doesn't follow. This is no public spectacle. But curiosity tugs at you, and you edge closer, your sandals silent on the ground. You're not supposed to be here, are you? Yet the festival's rhythm, its pulse of devotion, seems to invite you in, like a story that wants to be told. You peer through a gap in the reeds, and the scene unfolds like a painting. The courtyard is small, lit by a single brazier that casts a golden glow over the priests. They're gathered around a clay altar, its surface etched with cuneiform, and they're handling strange objects, bones, you think, or maybe polished stones. One priest scatters them across the altar, his fingers tracing patterns as the others watch, their faces unreadable. You realize they're reading omens? Seeking Marduk's will for the festival's success. The air feels thick, charged with something you can't name, and you hold your breath, afraid to disturb the moment. It's not unlike those late-night moments when you stare at the stars, half hoping they'll spell out an answer. The ritual is mesmerizing, its silence louder than any chant. You notice a young priest, barely older than a boy, hovering at the edge, his hands clasped tightly. He's nervous, you think, maybe new to this sacred work. You smirk. Imagine being the rookie in a room full of divine fortune-tellers. Did he practice tossing bones in secret, hoping not to fumble? You picture him dropping one, the clatter echoing like a thunderclap, and stifle a laugh. The gods might forgive a slip, but those stern priests? Not likely. The thought lightens the moment, grounding you in this strange, sacred space. This omen reading is a historical truth, woven into Babylon's festival traditions. Clay tablets describe how priests, trained in the art of divination, consulted signs, liver patterns, star alignments, or scattered bones, to ensure the gods' favor. These rites, often performed in private, were the festival's backbone, guiding the public rituals you've seen. You imagine the priest's relief when the omens were good, their quiet dread when they weren't. It's a reminder that Babylon's grandeur rested on uncertainty. Every celebration a gamble with the divine. You think of modern superstitions, knocking on wood, checking horoscopes, and wonder if we're still chasing the same answers. But there's a quirky detail that catches your eye, something that makes you pause. On the altar, alongside the bones, sits a small clay figurine shaped like a scorpion. You overhear a whispered word, protection, and realize it's there to ward off bad omens, a tiny guardian against cosmic mischief. It's oddly endearing. This belief that a clay scorpion could sway the god's mood. You picture a priest carving it late at night, muttering, "Better safe than sorry." Imagine explaining that to a modern skeptic. "Yeah, we've got a scorpion statue, just in case." You chuckle softly, the sound swallowed by the night, and hope the priests don't sense your amusement. You shift your weight, the wall's warmth seeping into your palms. The priests continue their work, their voices low, almost inaudible. You catch fragments, something about the river, the harvest, but the meaning slips away. Like a dream you can't quite hold. You notice a woman nearby, standing just outside the courtyard, her fingers tracing a fish-shaped bead on her bracelet. She's watching too, her face calm but expectant. You wonder if she's praying for good omens, or if she's just curious, like you. It's a small connection, this shared moment, and it makes the night feel less vast. Scholars, as always, debate the purpose of these secret rites. Some argue they were purely theological, a way to align the festival with Marduk's cosmic order. Others see them as political, a tool to justify the king's decisions under the guise of divine will. You can picture the historians, their desks cluttered with tablet fragments, each certain they've cracked the priest's code. It's a puzzle you're content to leave unsolved, because the truth feels alive here, in the brazier's glow and the scatter of bones. History's not just a theory, it's this moment, this flicker of firelight. The priests begin to gather their tools, the ritual drawing to a close. You feel a quiet relief, as if the omens were good, though you'll never know for sure. The night wraps around you, its cool air soothing, and you step back from the reeds, ready to rejoin the festival's flow. The courtyard fades behind you, but its weight lingers. A reminder that even in celebration, Babylon sought answers in the dark. Part 10. You ease away from the temple's hidden courtyard, the priest's quiet ritual fading into the night as you rejoin Babylon's festival pulse. The air is crisp now, carrying the scent of palm fronds and the distant smoke of roasting fires. You follow a winding path, the stars above guiding you toward a grove of date palms where a small crowd gathers. Their voices are soft, drawn to a figure seated on a woven mat, a storyteller. His hands moving like a weaver's, spinning tales of Marduk's triumphs. You feel the night settle around you, gentle and heavy, like a blanket tucked over your shoulders. Imagine the rustle of leaves overhead. Doesn't it sound like the world is listening, too? You find a spot near the edge of the grove, the ground cool beneath you. The storyteller's voice is low, almost hypnotic, rising and falling with the cadence of someone who knows how to hold a crowd. He's older, his beard streaked with gray, but his eyes gleam under the moonlight, alive with the story. He speaks of Marduk's battle with Tiamat, the chaos dragon, his words painting a world of churning seas and clashing gods. You lean forward, caught in the rhythm, the images vivid yet soothing. Like a bedtime story for a city that never sleeps. It's not unlike those podcasts you've dozed off to, the ones that lull you with tales of distant worlds. The crowd is rapt, their faces lit by a single lamp that flickers on the mat. You notice a boy nearby, his knees drawn up, clutching a clay token from the market. His eyes are wide, and you wonder if he's picturing Marduk's spear or Tiamat's thrashing tail. You smirk, imagine trying to pitch this to a modern movie studio. It's an epic showdown, but with more cuneiform. They'd probably add explosions and a love triangle. The thought makes you chuckle, the sound soft enough to blend with the grove's murmurs. And you hope the storyteller doesn't think you're laughing at his tale. This storytelling is a historical thread in Babylon's festival tapestry, a ritual as vital as the processions or feasts. Clay tablets mention how bards, often trained in temple schools, wove myths during festivals to reinforce Marduk's supremacy and the city's divine order. You picture the scribes recording these tales, their styluses pressing into soft clay, preserving stories that shaped a people's soul. It's a reminder that Babylon wasn't just built of bricks, it was built of words. Each story a stone in its foundation. You think of modern books, movies, even tweets, and wonder if our stories carry the same weight. But there's a quirky detail that catches your eye. Something that makes you pause. The storyteller's mat is scattered with small clay tokens, not unlike the ones traded in the market, but these are etched with tiny stars. You overhear a woman whisper that they're story charms, gifts from listeners to honor a good tale. It's a charming custom, though you can't help imagining the storyteller sweeping them up at night, grumbling about the mess. Picture him tripping over one in the dark. Nothing says epic bard, like cursing a clay star. You laugh softly, the sound lost in the crowd's hum, and hope no one notices your amusement. You shift your weight, the earth cool against your palms, and let the story pull you back. The storyteller's voice dips, describing Marduk shaping the world from Tiamat's remains, his hands mimicking the act of creation. You notice a woman nearby, her fingers tracing a fish-shaped bead on her necklace. Her lips curved in a faint smile. She's lost in the tale, you think, and you wonder if it's the story itself or the comfort of hearing it again, like a favorite song. It's a small moment, but it grounds you, this shared thread of wonder in a city that feels both ancient and alive. Scholars, naturally, debate the role of these storytellers. Some argue they were priests in all but name, their tales a form of worship to Marduk. Others see them as entertainers, keeping the crowd engaged while the temple prepared for dawn rites. You can picture the historians, their desks piled with tablet fragments, each certain they've decoded the bard's purpose. It's a puzzle you're content to leave unsolved, because the truth feels alive here, in the storyteller's voice and the flicker of the lamp. History's not just a debate, it's this moment, this tale under the palms. The story builds to a crescendo. Marduk's victory sealed with a thunderous clap of the storyteller's hands. The crowd sighs, a collective release, and you feel your own breath slow, the grove's quiet wrapping you in a gentle haze. You think of those reed boats from the river, the bells on the dancers' sashes. Are these stories another offering, floating to the gods? You're not sure, but the thought lingers, as soothing as the night itself. The storyteller pauses, sipping from a clay cup, and you sense the tale's end nearing, but the festival's rhythm hums on. You take a deep breath, the air sharp with the scent of dates and earth. The grove is a world of its own, and you're part of it, carried by the storyteller's words and the stars above. The night stretches ahead, promising more, and you're ready to follow its call. Part 11. You leave the storyteller's grove, the echo of his words fading as you step into the pre-dawn hush of Babylon. The air is cool now, heavy with the scent of river mud and the faint sweetness of wilting tamarisk flowers. The festival's rhythm has softened, the crowds thinning as the city prepares for dawn ceremonies by the Euphrates. You follow a narrow path, your sandals sinking into the damp earth, drawn toward the riverbank where families gather under the fading stars. You feel the night's gentle weight, like a hand guiding you forward, soothing and steady. Imagine the ripple of water in the darkness. Doesn't it sound like time itself, flowing past? You reach the river's edge, where the Euphrates glints faintly, its surface catching the first blush of morning. Small groups of Babylonians kneel along the bank, their robes brushing the mud as they arrange offerings, clay figurines, baskets of grain, and tiny reed boats like the ones you saw earlier. You pause, watching a woman shape a figurine, her fingers deft as she presses a fish motif into the clay. She places it in a boat and sets it adrift, whispering a prayer you can't hear. The act is intimate, almost private, and you feel a quiet awe, like you're glimpsing a piece of her soul. It's not unlike tossing a coin into a fountain today, hoping for luck, though this feels heavier, more deliberate. You find a spot nearby, the ground soft under your knees, and watch the boats drift. The crowd is calm, their voices low, blending with the river's murmur. You notice a man teaching his son to fold a reed boat, their hands moving together, the boy's tongue poking out in concentration. You smirk, imagine trying that as a modern craft project. Okay, kid, no glue, just vibes and reeds. They'd probably end up with a soggy mess, but these Babylonians make it look effortless. The thought makes you chuckle, the sound soft enough to vanish into the dawn's quiet, and you hope no one thinks you're mocking their craft. This dawn ceremony is a historical anchor of the festival. A moment when ordinary Babylonians, not just priests, offered gifts to Marduk and the river for prosperity. Clay tablets describe how these offerings, often personal and handmade, were believed to carry prayers for health, harvests, or peace. You picture families across the city, waking early to shape their figurines, each one a small act of hope. It's a reminder that Babylon's faith wasn't just in temples, it was here, in the mud, in the hands of its people. You think of modern rituals, writing wishes on New Year's Eve, lighting candles, and wonder if we're still reaching for the same promises. But there's a quirky detail that catches your eye, something that makes you pause. Some of the figurines aren't just fish or boats. They're shaped like miniature houses, complete with tiny doors and roofs. You overhear a woman explain that these are home guardians, meant to protect families from misfortune in the coming year. It's a charming touch, though you can't help imagining a potter squinting to carve those tiny windows, muttering about his aching hands. Picture one sinking in the river, nothing says divine protection, like a waterlogged clay house. You laugh softly, the sound swallowed by the river's hum, and hope no one notices your amusement. You shift your gaze to the water, where dozens of boats now drift, their offerings glinting in the growing light. The scene is hypnotic, the boats bobbing like stars fallen to earth. And you feel your breath slow, the dawn's calm seeping into you. You notice a young girl nearby, clutching a fish-shaped bead like the ones you've seen throughout the festival. She's watching her boat drift, her face serene, and you wonder what she's praying for, a good harvest, a safe home, or maybe just a happy day. It's a small moment, but it grounds you. This glimpse of faith in a city that feels both ancient and alive. Scholars, as always, debate the meaning of these river offerings. Some argue they were purely devotional, a way to thank Marduk and the Euphrates for their gifts. Others see them as practical, a communal act to clear the city of old burdens before the festival's final night. You can picture the historians, their desks cluttered with tablet fragments, each certain they've decoded the boat's purpose. It's a puzzle you're happy to leave unsolved, because the truth feels alive here, in the drift of reeds and the flicker of dawn. History's not just a theory, it's this moment, this quiet by the river. The sun begins to rise, its light spilling over the horizon, turning the Euphrates to gold. The families around you start to stand, their offerings sent, their prayers whispered. You feel a gentle shift, the festival moving toward its next phase, and you're part of it, carried by the river's current and the soft hum of devotion. You take a deep breath, the air sharp with the scent of water and clay, and let the moment settle. The dawn is here, and Babylon is ready for what comes next. Part 12. You leave the riverbank as the sun climbs higher, its golden light warming the damp chill of dawn. The Euphrates fades behind you, its gentle ripples carrying prayers downstream, and you follow the festival's quiet pull back into Babylon's heart. The air is fresh now, laced with the scent of crushed reeds and the faint smoke of morning fires. You find yourself on a narrow street, where the hum of workshops draws you closer, artisans at work, their hands shaping the festival's final offerings. You feel the city's rhythm, steady and soothing, like a heartbeat you've known forever. Imagine the clink of tools on clay. Doesn't it sound like the past whispering your name? You pause at an open courtyard, where craftsmen labor under the shade of palm frond awnings. The ground is dusted with clay, and the air hums with the soft scrape of tools and murmured instructions. You watch a potter at his wheel, his hands slick with water as he molds a vessel, its curves catching the light. Nearby, a woman carves intricate patterns into a golden plaque, her chisel steady despite the heat. These are the festival's artisans, you realize, creating the decorations that will honor Marduk in the final ceremonies. Their focus is mesmerizing, like a dance no one else sees, and you feel a quiet awe, as if you're glimpsing the city's soul. You step closer, your sandals crunching on the clay-strewn ground. The potter glances up, his eyes crinkling with a tired smile, and offers you a glimpse of his work, a small jar etched with fish motifs, like the beads you've seen throughout the festival. You nod, impressed, and think of modern artisans, potters at craft fairs, jewelers on Etsy. They'd get along with these Babylonians, wouldn't they? Swapping tips over a jug of date wine. You smirk. Imagine explaining a 3D printer to this guy. It just makes the jar? He'd probably think you're a sorcerer, and not the good kind. This workshop scene is a historical cornerstone of the festival, rooted in Babylon's tradition of crafting sacred objects for Marduk. Clay tablets describe how artisans, often temple-trained, produced vessels, plaques, and statues to adorn the final rites, their work seen as an act of devotion. You picture the city's workshops buzzing like this for weeks, each piece a prayer shaped by human hands. It's a reminder that Babylon's faith wasn't just in rituals, it was in creation, in the act of making something beautiful for the gods. You think of modern factories, all machines and quotas, and wonder if we've lost that sacred spark. But there's a quirky detail that catches your eye, something that makes you pause. Some of the clay jars are topped with tiny lids shaped like pomegranates, their surfaces painted red. You overhear a young apprentice explain that they're meant to hold the festival's joy, ensuring Marduk's blessings linger in the city. It's a poetic idea, though you can't help imagining the potter who first pitched it, trying to convince his boss. Pomegranate lids, trust me, it's a vibe. Picture one rolling off the table, cracking on the floor. Nothing says divine joy like a shattered fruit. You chuckle softly, the sound lost in the workshop's hum, and hope no one thinks you're mocking their craft. You move to another stall, where a goldsmith hammers a thin sheet of metal, shaping it into a crescent moon for a temple offering. The precision is hypnotic, each tap deliberate, and you feel your breath slow, the courtyard's rhythm lulling you. You notice a child nearby, watching the goldsmith with wide eyes, clutching a clay token from the market. She's dreaming of making something like that, you think, and you wonder if she'll grow up to wield a hammer or a chisel. It's a small moment, but it grounds you. This glimpse of ambition in a city that feels both ancient and alive. Scholars, naturally, debate the artisan's role in the festival. Some argue their work was purely functional, producing tools for the priest's rites. Others see it as deeply spiritual, each piece a conduit for Marduk's presence. You can picture the historians, their desks piled with tablet fragments, each certain they've decoded the artisan's purpose. It's a puzzle you're happy to leave unsolved, because the truth feels alive here, in the scrape of chisels and the gleam of gold. History's not just a theory, it's this moment, this jar taking shape. The sun climbs higher, warming your shoulders, and you take a deep breath, the air sharp with the scent of clay and palm. The artisans continue their work, their hands steady despite the festival's nearing end. You feel a quiet connection, not just to them, but to the objects they create, to the story they're telling. You think of those fish-shaped beads, the bow bowls, the star-etched tokens. Are these pomegranate lids another thread, tying the festival to the divine? You're not sure, but the thought lingers. As soothing as the courtyard's hum. You step back, ready to move on, the workshop's rhythm fading but its weight lingering. The festival is building toward its final night, and you're part of it. Carried by the artisan's craft and the light of a new day. The city waits, and you're ready for what comes next. Part 13. You step away from the artisan's courtyard, the clink of their tools fading as you weave through Babylon's sunlit streets. The air is warm now, carrying the scent of roasted barley and the faint sweetness of overripe figs. The festival's rhythm hums softly, guiding you toward a lively square where children's laughter rises like a melody over the crowd's murmur. You pause, drawn to the scene, young Babylonians darting through the dust, playing games tied to the festival's joy. You feel the day's gentle pull, soothing and bright, like a memory you didn't know you had. Imagine the scuff of small sandals on the earth. Doesn't it sound like childhood, no matter the era? You settle on a low stone bench, the surface warm against your palms, and watch the children at play. Some chase each other in a game that looks like tag, their robes flapping as they dodge between stalls. Others kneel in a circle, tossing knucklebones, polished sheep bones that clatter on the ground, their throws met with cheers or groans. You notice a girl, no older than 8, clutching a clay token etched with a star. Her prize from a game. Her grin is infectious, and you can't help but smile. It's not unlike a modern playground, you think, kids screaming over a soccer ball or trading stickers. Same energy, just with more cuneiform. You lean back, savoring the square's chaos. A boy trips while chasing a friend, landing in a puff of dust, and scrambles up laughing. You smirk. Imagine trying to organize this lot for a school field trip. All right, everyone, no throwing bones at the ziggurat. They'd probably sneak a few tosses anyway. The thought makes you chuckle, the sound blending with the children's shouts, and you hope no one thinks you're laughing at the kids' tumble. Kids are resilient, aren't they? Then and now, they turn dirt and chaos into joy. This playful scene is a historical thread in the festival's tapestry, woven into Babylon's celebration of Marduk. Clay tablets mention how children's games, often mimicking sacred rituals, were encouraged during festivals to teach devotion through play. You picture parents watching from the sidelines, nodding as their kids tossed bones or raced, knowing each laugh was a small prayer to the gods. It's a reminder that Babylon's faith wasn't just in temples or processions, it was here, in the dust, in the hands of its youngest. You think of modern festivals, carnival games, face painting, and wonder if we're still teaching kids to find the sacred in fun. But there's a quirky detail that catches your eye. Something that makes you pause. Some children wear tiny wristbands woven from reeds, each threaded with a single fish-shaped bead. You overhear a mother explain that they're festival bands, meant to bring luck in games and protect against skinned knees. It's a charming touch, though you can't help imagining a kid losing one mid-race, diving into the dust to find it. Picture the tantrum that follows. Nothing says divine luck, like a meltdown over a lost bead. You laugh softly, the sound lost in the square's din, and hope no one notices your amusement. You shift your gaze to a group playing a game with clay balls, rolling them toward a carved stone marker. The rules are unclear, but the excitement is palpable, each roll met with gasps or cheers. You notice an older boy, maybe 12, coaching a younger one, his hand steadying the smaller child's throw. It's a small moment, but it grounds you. This glimpse of care in a city that feels both ancient and alive. You think of those pomegranate lids from the artisans, the owl figurines from the market, are these fish bead bands another thread tying the festival to the everyday? You're starting to see the pattern, the way Babylon wove its gods into every laugh, every game. Scholars, naturally, debate the role of children in the festival. Some argue their games were informal, a way to keep them busy while adults prayed. Others see them as ritualistic, teaching the next generation to honor Marduk through play. You can picture the historians, their desks cluttered with tablet fragments, each certain they've decoded the knucklebone's purpose. It's a puzzle you're happy to leave unsolved. Because the truth feels alive here, in the children's shouts and the dust on their robes. History's not just a theory, it's this moment, this roll of a clay ball. The sun climbs higher, warming the square, and you take a deep breath, the air sharp with the scent of barley and earth. The children keep playing, their energy boundless, and you feel a quiet joy. As if their laughter is catching. You notice a girl nearby, tying a new reed band on her wrist, her fingers fumbling with the knot. She's beaming, and you wonder if she believes it'll make her faster, luckier, or just prouder. The festival is alive in her smile, and you're part of it, carried by the square's chaos and the light of a new day. You rise from the bench, ready to move on. The children's laughter fading, but its warmth lingering. The festival is nearing its final night, and you feel its rhythm building, promising more. The city waits, and you're ready for what comes next. Part 14. You leave the children's lively square behind, their laughter fading as you weave through Babylon's sun-warmed streets. The air is rich with the scent of crushed petals and the faint tang of wood smoke, the festival's final night drawing near. You feel the city's pulse, steady and warm, guiding you toward a wide plaza where Babylonians gather under a sky now bruising into dusk. The crowd hums with anticipation, their voices blending into a soft chorus of hymns and murmured hopes. You pause, letting the moment settle, soothing as a whispered promise. Imagine the flicker of torches against the twilight. Doesn't it feel like the stars are joining the celebration? You find a spot near the plaza's edge, where the ground is packed smooth by countless feet. Torches line the space, their flames casting a golden glow over the crowd, who sway gently as priests lead a hymn to Marduk. The melody is simple, carried by voices young and old, and you catch the rhythm, its cadence lulling you like a tide. You notice a woman nearby, her hands clasped, a fish-shaped bead glinting on her bracelet. She's singing softly, her eyes half closed, and you wonder what she's hoping for: peace, prosperity, or just another night like this. It's not unlike a modern vigil, you think, all candles and quiet dreams, though this feels woven deeper into the earth. The hymn builds, and you feel the crowd's unity, their voices rising like a single breath. You spot families huddled together, children perched on shoulders, elders leaning on carved staffs. A boy drops his clay token, scrambling to retrieve it before his sister teases him, and you smirk. Imagine trying to keep track of kids in this crowd. Stay close, or Marduk's dragon will nab you! Probably not the best parenting tactic, but it'd work. You chuckle softly, the sound lost in the hymn swell, and hope no one thinks you're laughing at the sacred moment. This final night's gathering is a historical pinnacle of the festival, a moment when Babylon reaffirmed its bond with Marduk. Clay tablets describe how communal hymns, sung under the stars, were both worship and renewal, sealing the city's devotion for the year ahead. You picture the king among the crowd, his gold-trimmed robe blending with the common folk, his voice joining theirs. It's a reminder that Babylon's strength was in its people, their shared song a thread tying them to the divine. You think of modern concerts, all light shows and selfies, and wonder if we've forgotten how to sing for something bigger. But there's a quirky detail that catches your eye, something that makes you pause. Some in the crowd hold small clay lamps, their wicks burning low, shaped like miniature ziggurats. You overhear a man explain that they're starlights, lit to guide Marduk's gaze to the plaza. It's a poetic touch. Though you can't help imagining a clumsy Babylonian knocking one over, cursing as wax spills. Picture explaining that to the priests. "Sorry, my starlight's a fire hazard." You laugh softly. The sound swallowed by the crowd's song, and hope no one notices your amusement. You shift your weight, the earth cool beneath your sandals, and let the hymn pull you in. The priests raise their arms, signaling a pause, and the crowd falls silent, their faces lit with expectation. You notice a young man nearby, his fingers tracing a star-etched token. His expression calm but intense. He's praying, you think, and you wonder if it's for his family, his future, or just this moment's peace. It's a small connection, this shared quiet. And it grounds you, this glimpse of hope in a city that feels both ancient and alive. Scholars, naturally, debate the hymn's purpose. Some argue they were purely devotional, a final offering to Marduk's glory. Others see them as social, a way to unify Babylon's diverse clans, Sumerians, Akkadians, and more, under one song. You can picture the historians, their desks piled with tablet fragments, each certain they've decoded the plaza's harmony. It's a puzzle you're happy to leave unsolved, because the truth feels alive here. In the crowd's silence and the flicker of ziggurat lamps. History's not just a theory, it's this moment, this shared breath. The priests begin a new hymn, and the crowd joins, their voices softer now. Like a lullaby for the city. You feel your eyelids grow heavy, the plaza's warmth wrapping you in a gentle haze. You think of those reed boats, the pomegranate lids, the children's fish bead bands. Are these starlights another thread, tying the festival to the heavens? You're not sure, but the thought lingers, as soothing as the song itself. The night is deep, and you're part of it, carried by the hymns and the stars above. You take a deep breath, the air sharp with the scent of wax and earth. The festival is nearing its end, but its magic holds you, promising one final moment. The plaza glows, and you're ready for the close, for the quiet that follows. Part 15. You stand in the plaza as the hymns fade, the crowd's voices dissolving into the cool night air like a sigh. Babylon is quiet now, the festival's final notes, settling over the city like dust after a storm. The torches burn low, their flickering light casting long shadows across the packed earth. You feel the weight of the moment, gentle and heavy, as if the stars themselves are pausing to watch. The air carries the faint scent of wax from the ziggurat-shaped lamps and the earthy tang of the Euphrates nearby. You're here, in this ancient city, and the festival's end wraps around you, soothing as a whispered farewell. Imagine the silence of a sleeping world. Doesn't it feel like Babylon is dreaming? You shift your weight, your sandals scuffing softly against the ground. The crowd begins to disperse, families drifting toward their homes, their robes brushing together in a soft rustle. You notice a woman lingering nearby, her fingers tracing the fish-shaped bead on her bracelet, her face calm but wistful. She's holding a clay lamp, its flame nearly spent, and you wonder if she's reluctant to let the festival go. You feel it too, don't you? That pang when something beautiful ends, like the last page of a book you didn't want to finish. It's not unlike leaving a concert, the music still ringing in your ears. Or maybe it's deeper, like leaving a place you know you'll never see again. You follow the thinning crowd, your steps slow, as if to savor the night's final moments. The plaza empties, revealing its worn stones and scattered petals, remnants of the festival's joy. You pass a child clutching a star-etched token, his eyes heavy with sleep, his mother guiding him gently by the hand. You smirk. Imagine trying to get that kid to bed after all this excitement. No, you can't stay up for one more hymn. Probably a battle as old as Babylon itself. You chuckle softly, the sound swallowed by the night's hush, and hope no one thinks you're laughing at the sleepy boy. This quiet close is a historical truth. The festival's final act is vital as its processions or feasts. Clay tablets describe how Babylonians ended their celebrations with a return to stillness. A moment to reflect on Marduk's enduring presence. You picture the priests back at the Asagila, extinguishing their lamps, their prayers complete. It's a reminder that Babylon's faith wasn't just in spectacle. It was in the pause, the space where devotion settled into the heart. You think of modern rituals, blowing out birthday candles, watching fireworks fade, and wonder if we're still seeking that same quiet after the noise. But there's a quirky detail that catches your eye, something that makes you pause. Scattered on the plaza's edge are tiny clay shards, broken remnants of the starlight lamps. You overhear an elder murmur that they're left behind on purpose, to carry the festival's blessings into the earth. It's a poetic custom, though you can't help imagining a priest tripping over one in the dark, muttering about the mess. Picture explaining that to Marduk. "Sorry, my lord, your sacred shards are a hazard." You laugh softly, the sound fading into the night, and hope no one notices your amusement. You linger by a low wall, the stone cool under your palms, and let the silence sink in. The city feels different now, its energy spent but its spirit intact. You notice a man nearby, sweeping petals into a small pile, his movements slow and deliberate. He's part of the festival's end, you think, ensuring Babylon wakes clean and renewed. It's a small moment, but it grounds you. This glimpse of care in a city that feels both ancient and alive. You think of those reed boats, the pomegranate lids, the children's fish bead bands. Are these broken shards another thread tying the festival to the earth? You're not sure, but the thought lingers, as soothing as the night itself. Scholars, naturally, debate the meaning of this quiet close. Some argue it was a spiritual necessity, a way to seal Marduk's blessings before the city returned to daily life. Others see it as practical, a communal act to clear the streets and minds for the year ahead. You can picture the historians, their desks cluttered with tablet fragments, each certain they've decoded the silence's purpose. It's a puzzle you're happy to leave unsolved, because the truth feels alive here, in the fading torchlight and the sweep of petals. History's not just a theory, it's this moment. This hush under the stars. You take a deep breath, the air sharp with the scent of clay and night-blooming flowers. The festival is over, but its echo remains, a warmth that settles in your chest. You feel a quiet gratitude, not just for the story, but for the city that told it, for the people who lived it. Babylon is still here, in the dust, in the river, in the stars, and you're part of it. If only for tonight. You turn from the plaza, ready to let the night carry you away, knowing some stories never truly end. You stand at the edge of Babylon's quiet plaza, the festival's final whispers fading into the night. The air is cool, carrying the faint scent of river mud and burnout torches, a gentle reminder of the celebration now past. The stars above burn softly, their light a silent promise that this city, these moments, will linger in the heart of time. You feel the ground beneath you, solid and warm, as if Babylon itself is cradling you in its ancient embrace. The world is still, and you're here, wrapped in the glow of a story that feels like home. You take a slow breath, letting the silence settle. The scattered petals, the broken shards of starlight lamps, the distant ripple of the Euphrates, they all hum with the festival's memory. You think of the fish-shaped beads, the reed boats, the children's laughter, each a thread in a tapestry woven by hands long gone. Yet they're not so far, are they? Their hopes, their songs, their quiet prayers, they echo in us, in the way we gather, the way we dream. You smile, a soft warmth spreading through you, like the last sip of date wine shared under the stars. The city is sleeping now, its streets empty, its ziggurats standing sentinel against the sky. You imagine the woman with her clay lamp, the boy with his star-etched token, the artisan shaping a pomegranate lid, they're resting, their part in the festival complete. You feel a quiet kinship with them, a sense that you've walked their paths, tasted their bread, sung their hymns. Babylon has opened its heart to you, and you carry it now, a gentle weight that soothes rather than burdens. Isn't that what stories do? They hold us, long after the telling is done. Now you can close your eyes and let the currents of time take you away. Let the Euphrates murmur carry you, its waters blending with the hum of your own breath. You're not leaving Babylon behind, you're taking it with you, its warmth tucked into the corners of your mind. The festival may be over, but its light remains, steady and kind. Like a friend who knows you'll return. You feel safe here, in this moment, as the night folds you into its embrace, promising rest, promising dreams. You turn from the plaza, your steps slow, each one a soft farewell. The stars watch, the river sings, and Babylon breathes, its story alive in you. Sleep well, traveler, for history is never far, it waits, patient and warm, for the next time you wander its paths.